two men who survived in the same world, in the same era. Their extraordinary destinies are now about to unfold. SaGa Frontier 2 Remastered. Gustav, the heir to the throne who was born without talent, the boy who was once called a good-for-nothing, will take up his steel sword and plunge headfirst into the violent wars shaking the world. William Knights, an adventurer setting out on his path. His journey begins with the mysterious death of his parents and will lead him to the disaster brought about by the egg, an enigmatic object. His life will be dedicated to this long struggle spanning generations. Unravel an epic historical tale told from a variety of different perspectives. From the world map, you can select whichever fragment of the story you want. New scenes have been added to uncover truths from the original. There are 3 different battle systems adapted to the story and party members. Learn new arts and unleash powerful combos. Familiar faces from the original game will also join the battle. Carry over one character's stats to another character. Challenge powerful bosses waiting for you after you've completed the story. A remaster that's refined and more enjoyable to play. Bear witness to this history. SaGa Frontier 2 Remastered. Available now.
Welcome to the launch premiere of SaGa Frontier 2 Remastered. We will be your hosts today. My name is Sayu, I'm your community manager, and here with me are Lulu, our social media manager, and Julian, our marketing manager. Without further ado, let's check out some gameplay.
All right, so here we are, we're in the game. This is the main screen that you're gonna see right when you start off. And you're gonna see that it's kind of laid out in a way that it's narrative, where you can see a selection on the left-hand side. We call this the history choice system, right? And it's gonna keep populating as you go by whichever order that you want. But we recommend you kind of go in order at least the first time through so that you can get the whole story. And you can see right off the bat that there's 2 different names here. You see Gustav and you see Will. And in this particular game, we've got 2 characters with 2 different stories that kind of intersect during this whole time. So let's start with Gustav's story.
So just to give a little bit of background of SaGa Frontier 2, since this is a remaster, SaGa Frontier 2 was originally released in 1999 in Japan, and then in 2000 in the North American and PAL regions. And now it's coming to the latest platforms in the HD remastered version. And again, as we were explaining earlier, you get to experience a history that transcends generations by unraveling scenarios, depicting different perspectives, and focusing on these 2 men born in the same era, but different circumstances. So right now we are starting with Gustav, and then the second one is going to be William Knights.
So you can see some options on the left side there that just kind of disappeared. In this remake, you are able to sort of speed up the game if you'd like. And go at your own pace there.
Yeah, there are quite a few quality of life updates, as one would expect with the remaster.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see it moves a little slow right now, which is normal speed, and then if I hit the, there you can see him moving a little bit quicker there, right? So our main character, Gustav, is born.
Woohoo!
There he is, little baby. Very large baby, actually.
He's Gustav the 13th.
Gustav the 13th.
There are technically
and
2 Gustavs.
And now you'll see that after every point, after every story scenario, you will have an option to save and keep going. So we'll go ahead and keep going there. And it said now you can move on to the next part of the story, and then now you're not going to be able to go back to the last one, so keep that in mind when you're playing. But like I said, we're going in order this time.
Look at that watercolor art.
I love that key art.
All right, so you're gonna see the word anima come up a lot here. And anima is kind of like a life force, kind of like a spiritual force that kind of occurs naturally in nature and a lot of objects. And spells, for instance, are something that manipulates anima. And here in this particular scene, he's sort of going through a trial that kind of like tests his anima strength. And we see that he's not able to do it. And that's a big problem for this particular kingdom. So the king is so angry now that he's going to exile his own son because he's not able to manipulate anima.
At 7 years old, it's so mean.
And
That's how important anima is.
Yeah, and this lays the foundation of his story. Right?
It's so sad. Just for the sake of our audience here being able to enjoy the story, we are going to go ahead and skip ahead a little bit. I will also go over some of the quality of life stuff that we're going to talk about in just a second. SaGa Frontier 2 Remastered has evolved to be more intuitive and enjoyable to play. There's new features in the remaster, like the high resolution graphics, which include the vivid watercolor art, a revamped UI, and additional events. So these new stories are written by Benny Matsuyama under the supervision of Akitoshi Kawazu, who is the SaGa franchise general director. They've been added to complement the main story, so please enjoy. The remaster also features updated and expanded characters, so these are new playable characters and unique graphics to accompany the additional stories. So these are characters who did not join battles in the original and are now playable. New designs have been prepared for the characters as well as bosses that did not have their own unique sprites in the original. In addition to all of that, new post-endgame content has been added as well. After completing the game, you'll be able to unlock several completely new events, and you can start a new game while carrying over a number of elements, such as how many chips you have, what certain element skills you would like to bring over. This will enhance your new game, plus experience. We skipped quite a bit. He is now going to be 15 years old. We're going to hop into some gameplay, and I'm going to actually talk about some quality of life stuff. I don't know if you've noticed it in the beginning part when we were going over, well, Gustav's beginnings. So in this new remastered version, this game not only features high-resolution graphics, but also a revamped UI and a polished game system, including the addition of the parameter inheritance system. If you're familiar with our other SaGa games that has this inheritance system, new historical scenes that were never shown in the original story have also been added, and additional characters from the original will also join in battles. This is going to be allowing a deeper enjoyment of the story.
Yeah, so even if you've played it before, or if you've never played it before, there's a lot more to discover, which is really wonderful.
All right, so now we get some action here, where we are now controlling Gustav in the caves.
Kind of.
Yeah.
As much as he can be controlled.
You're right.
All right. So in SaGa Frontier 2, you'll see the enemies walking around on screen there. So it's not a random encounter like some of our other JRPGs, but this one you will have to actually touch the enemy. In this case, they're going to come at you very aggressively.
Yeah.
So right off the bat here in the battle screen, you're going to see 3 or 4 choices. Starting from the bottom, there's something called a desperate escape, which guarantees your escape out of the battle. Not all of them, obviously, like bosses, for instance. But this is going to cost something called your LP, which I'll get into in a second here. And then flee is just kind of like same thing, except you have a chance to fail at it. And then recover HP, and then battle commands. So for the first battle, we'll go ahead and start fighting. I'll hit battle commands, and in this one, instead of a active time bar or a sort of a order of battles, you'll see that you're going to select commands for each of your characters in the beginning, and then they're going to attack and play out afterwards. So right now, I don't have too many options. I just have a sword, so I can slash. And then you'll see my next character is Flynn. He can punch, and if I hit the R buttons or L buttons, you can see that I have a choice. And now you just saw that light bulb kind of pop up really in the beginning there. That's called glimmering. And if you're familiar with the SaGa series or any of the franchise games, it's something that we'll see very often, unlike traditional JRPGs, where you might level up and learn certain abilities at a certain level point. In the SaGa franchise, you do something called a glimmer, which is kind of a random, it's pretty random in terms of you learning an ability based on the weapon that you're equipping right now. So just now, very lucky, first attack, I learned a new art. And then now once I learned that new art, you'll see that even though I selected slash, I end up using that attack, right? So it kind of overwrit my original command, but now I can use that command. So if I go to battle commands, you'll see that smash is there. And then next you'll see that WP4 next to there, and you'll see the WP on the left side of the screen where I have 64 WP. So this is kind of a point system of me using this ability. And so it's gonna cost me 4 WP to use smash. And then you'll see on the left side there's a +4. So after every turn, you're going to regain WP and SP, which is spell points and weapon points respectively. So strategically, you can use abilities that use a lot of WP, but then sort of tone it back later on in the battle so that you can start regaining it. Yeah. So me using smash is not going to really cost me much in this, and it's very powerful. So you'll see a new command opening up here called recover HP. So at the start of every turn, you have the option to recover your HP without actually taking up a turn, which is really cool. So you can see that my Flynn character has 84 out of 94 HP. And if I hit recover, you'll see that he recovers fully. And you saw that 1 just now. That's actually something called the LP, which you see on the left-hand screen as well underneath the HP up there. And you only have so many of these per battle. And once one of the LP goes down to 0, your character's kind of incapacitated for that entire duration. Now, your character can go down to 0 HP and kind of like pass out, but you are able to revive them with a simple healing spell. So the objective is not to go down to 0 LP at any given point, but it's pretty generous. So you can heal before any turn and keep going.
Gustav, turn around.
Why is he always face the other way?
Facing the other way.
He's just so anti-establishment that he has to do everything different.
So just to show the desperate escape here, I could run from this battle, but again, it's going to cost me my LP, right? And you saw the 1 showed up. And just like that, the enemy is gone, right? So that's really useful. And then there's
A mushroom really wants to
He wants
fight
to
you.
square up. Yeah.
all right, let's go ahead and fight. So in the very beginning, until you start glimmering of arts, you're going to be doing a lot of the same attacks over and over again, right? I could keep using slash.
Yeah, we got really lucky.
Yeah, we did. That very first
right
one.
off the bat, and now it's like, nope. That shows you how random it is.
mushroom tier.
Oh, you made him cry.
All right, so just now we scored a different weapon that we can go into the equipment screen, and you can see that I have my trial dagger, and then I can now equip that light spear that I just got. And you're going to notice that number next to the light spear, that 22. Basically, that number is going to keep dropping every time you use the weapon, and eventually it will break. Now you are able to recover that, say that you really like that weapon or you're really learning to use it. You can recover it back in town, but that's something to keep in mind. And then of course you'll notice the fire next to that number, which is sort of the affinity, the element that's associated to that. So now in battle, by equipping this, I can use both weapons at any moment. All right, so now that we equip the spear, if I cycle through my commands up on top, you can see that now I can use an ability, that I can use the spear there, right? And the only attack I can use is thrust. So I'll go ahead and use that. And now the only reason why I'm using defend with Flynn is because you'll find that he is very weak and he does not do any damage.
Okay,
And
we glimmered.
very lucky.
Hey, as you were just talking crap about him. He's really weak. Oh, really?
Oh no, that was about Flynn.
Oh,
Oh,
not
yeah.
Gustav.
So now that we saw that we glimmered with thrust, with the spear, you'll see that I have that available as well. Now this one costs a lot less too, but I could theoretically keep going because I do recover 4 WP per turn.
But we only have 21 uses left in that spear.
Yeah, so remember that that number next to it. So if I'm not confident in terms of how long the battles might go on or how long the map is, then I might stick to something that's not going to break, which we'll get into a little bit later because there are weapons and accessories that don't break. He's just there. All right, so now we have a new party member that can actually attack, that can actually hit the enemy. So we have Gustav and we have his best friend Kelvin here, who innately uses a spear. So this battle is going to be a lot easier because we have some great help and great support.
So remind me, is this like the other Saga games where you recover HP in between? Or is it not?
Yeah, so not after every battle,
Okay,
but you will recover only 25% of your HP after every battle. Good question. Yeah.
Now I bet you're wondering, where'd Flynn go?
Who cares?
Well, story-wise, yeah, he was captured by the bandits. We didn't actually even see that.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we didn't actually see it. So now, with Kelvin's support, we're going to go ahead and go save him.
They nabbed him.
All right, so here we're in the camp menu, or the party status, where you can sort of see what you would normally see in RPGs, like items, equipment, arts, primary inheritance we'll get in a little bit later, but just sticking to the top here. When you go into the equipment, you see, as we did earlier with Gustav's spears, there's a lot of other options that you can sort of select, right? So it's not in any order. Here I can go ahead and equip some accessories like the arc stone here and the mushroom tier, which is something. All right, and then you'll see up on the top, well, the middle, right? You'll see a bunch of numbers and icons like the tree and different weapon types. But in the Saga series in general, you don't traditionally level up like you would in a regular JRPG. Each weapon and equipment that you equipped has its own level system, right? So in my case, because I'm using the sword so often, my sword level is a lot higher, right? And that's what you want to increase. And so the more that you use a sword, the better you get at it, the more damage it'll yield. And same with on the right side, the elements, which is basically like spells. And then in the arts menu here, you can sort of see all the art. So once you learn an art, everybody can equip it. So if I go to Kelvin, for instance, and I go to sword, I can see smash, even though it was Gustav who learned it in the very beginning, I can still equip it to him. Now he can't use it unless he's actually equipping a sword, but he can always use it as well. So sometimes in the beginning, when you encounter an enemy, you're going to get a screen like this where you're given a choice where you can fight as a team or you can fight individually or run, right? And this is called the duel system, or the duel, duel. It's called a duel.
Well, there's 3 different types of battles.
Right, there's a party battle, which is that fight as a team, the duel, and then later on there is something called the
Warfare.
The warfare, which is very specific to Gustav's side, but we won't get to that. So in this case, we'll go ahead and choose Gustav.
It's like 3 RPGs in one. Almost.
Yeah, well. And now, when you fight duels, you see that it's one-on-one. The stakes are a little bit higher in the sense that, yes, there's only one character, so if that character dies, you're done, right? But now the advantage to being able to doing a duel is that you can actually learn those abilities a little bit easier. And unlike the party battles where you kind of select from your arts that you already learned, you're supposed to actually select from these choices that you're already given. And depending on what you choose, the next one might be a part of a combo or it might be standalone. And your objective is to use a lot of different combos so that you do learn abilities. So in this case, I'll go ahead and charge first so that the next one's powerful. And then you can see all the abilities that I can choose from, or all the arts that I can choose from that are going to make it a combo. So in this case, I can see that cleave down on the bottom there. It says power 13 is my more powerful ability, or my powerful art. So I'll go ahead and just use that all the way through, and then I can commence. And you see that smash was used just now, even though I glimmered the ability there called double vertical. So again, using duel allows you to sort of glimmer new arts a lot easier than if you were in a party. And now from here, I'm able to repeat exactly what I did before, or I can choose a different set. But I'm going to go ahead and repeat it because I like that selection.
And combos aren't restricted only to duel battles. You can also do this in party battles as well. So attacks performed by multiple party members by combining their arts or spells are definitely more effective, a lot stronger as well. So.
All right, so we see right from the last duel battle that double vertical that we learned is already there, right? So I can keep using that. So I definitely recommend do a combination of duel battles and party battles.
When given the option.
Yeah.
Now we're skipping ahead here. We are now where Flynn is with the bandits. Actually, I don't see Flynn.
Yeah, he's around.
He's
Well,
somewhere.
we are rescuing Flynn. Tied
Oh,
up.
there he is.
Oh, he's not doing so good.
Oh no.
As I
Hey,
casually
how you
walk
doing?
over there in
Yeah.
front of them.
It looks so small.
All right. So we did have a choice with a duel battle before, but occasionally you're going to be forced into a duel battle like in this case. So if you didn't do that before, this may be your first time that you're going to duel. And that's why my repeat commands is already there because I've done it before. But let's go ahead and go back to our commands. And let me go ahead and sort of show you a different set here. Let's raise physical power. Let's slash first, then backslash, then cleave. Oh, glimmered something else there called crosscut.
Nice. Oh. That's not fair. You can use arts.
Oh, I missed. Yep.
And then also to point out, we can also change our weapon in the middle of, or I guess before doing our next set of commands. So if you didn't want to use the sword, you can change to martial arts or light spear.
Yeah, in this case, that's only because I have that equipped, right, from the party battle. So I can choose something else. But because it's a boss battle, it's probably not a good time to experiment.
Yeah.
And because as good as that set was, my enemy attacked a lot on that one,
Yeah.
and I didn't like that. So I'm going to go ahead and do my powerful set here.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
wow, really good.
You're fine. You could have swapped to a spear.
Yeah, I could have done it. All right, so here is our first major boss battle. You can see the main boss back there, and you can see the 3 bandits. We are going to pick away at them one at a time here. And again, from that last duel, that new attack, crosscut, or new art, crosscut is here. And I can see again from the bottom right where it says power, you can sort of gauge how much damage it's going to do.
Oh, wow.
And just because the WP is higher doesn't always necessarily mean it's more powerful. Every art has a different effect, right? Some might attack multiple enemies, some might just attack one. So it really comes down to your strategy. But in this case, because I'm picking at them one by one and I don't have one that attacks everyone, I'm going to go ahead and go all out on each one.
Gustav, why are you always face the other way? Okay, now he's faced the correct way.
There we go.
All right. So that worked out really well. I'm going to go ahead and keep doing that until each one of these guys are dead.
Now, every single time Kelvin has attacked, with the verdant. Wait, was it verdant?
Verdant
thrust?
thrust, yeah.
Yeah.
He gets Psyche up. What is that?
So some abilities, just like other JRPGs, there are effects that you get, right? So
Yeah.
there's obviously bad effects like poison, or being paralyzed. But there's also good ones like morale being up, and different effects there's different effects that might make it easier for you and get your stats a little bit higher. And so in this particular battle, I could have attacked the boss, but by beating her bandits, that also ended the battle as well.
Oh, cool.
And again, we don't want to spoil any more of the story, so we're going to skip ahead to Will's story. He's the other story that you could follow in addition to Gustav's. Excuse me. Okay. He is a stubborn punk.
Yeah, get out here.
All right, so we're back in the history choice screen here. That our next Gustav storyline is called Reunion. I can skip over to Mother's sickbed, but we're going to go over to Will's side, and we're going to start with his story now. So now the story is a little bit different now in that Will is not royalty. He is a digger. Basically, he's out there looking for something called a quell, which is also another term that you're going to see a lot of. A quell is basically a item or it's a weapon, armor, or accessory that basically has unlimited durability. So if you go to the equipment screen, you can see that there's some stuff there that has the infinity sign there. That's a good telltale sign of a quell. Not to say that this is, but that's what his objective is here, is he's looking for a quell.
Well, a lot of the Quell also have a lot of anima power or bonuses when equipped as well. So you're able to use special abilities or skills through these Quells, but only if you have them equipped.
So having a quell is definitely an advantage.
So then if you learn something through that Quell, you're not able to share that with your other party members.
You have to have it equipped, yeah. All right, so here we're recruiting some friends, some allies.
Fellow diggers.
Everybody also looking for quells. All right, so now that we have our party members, we are going to go into the town store here, and we're going to go ahead and buy some equipment, just in case, because like we said before, durability does drop, right? And in case something does break while I'm in the middle of a map, that would be catastrophic, right? I can see on the far right there, it says stock. This is how many I have. So just for me personally, I always like to have at least one of everything. So let's go ahead and buy.
Oh, you have so much money too, so might as well.
Yeah, I start off really nice. All right. And now before going into any major map, I will probably go ahead and equip my characters. I personally like the bow. And with that, we are ready to make it.
To the ruins of Han.
All right. So the objective here is really simple. We're just looking for a quell. And once we do that, we can return back to town. And there are a few options here, but first and foremost, let's go ahead and find another party member. All right, so we're starting off with Will. Like I said, I have a bow, which I really like. And I'll show you why I like it.
Oh no, he's paralyzed. And poisoned.
Oh jeez. Oh gosh.
We're starting off real well here, guys.
Do status effects heal between battles? I forget.
Yes, so they'll be gone by the next
Okay,
time
good.
the battle starts.
It's so nice not to have to like constantly use items to have to heal those things.
All right, so here we are recruiting Tyler. So that'll bring my party to 4, which is always a great thing, having more.
What's the maximum party size?
I believe it's 4.
Okay, great.
Yeah, as you can see there.
We're loaded.
Now you do have a sub party, but at any party battle you could have up to 4.
But I don't think this one is a quell,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, no.
So now that we just found a breastplate, I can go ahead and equip that. As you see here. And that makes everything better. All right, so we're gonna look for that quell in here.
Oh, the ghosts.
Yep.
Spooky, spooky.
So again, we have a choice of doing a duel, or we can fight as a team. Let's go ahead and just keep fighting as a team for now. I'm gonna keep shooting regular
Conserve your SP.
Yeah, and he has something new.
Ooh.
So you saw defense down there. These zombies are very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Now you see on the top there, after every battle, you're going to gain some WP, you're going to gain some experience. Just keep an eye on that now. And crown is money in this currency in this game.
I can't believe you snuck by that ghost.
Yeah, I know,
Normally
right?
they're so, yeah, like you
They're
can't
aggressive.
even walk past it without
All right.
heading into a battle.
So for this one, I'm actually going to try Wheel Knights as a duel.
Will Knights will fight.
Yeah.
I do really like that the character models changed in duels.
Mm-hmm.
So I am going to use the hunting bow. I like the charge, and we're gonna flame. Let's see what 3 flames do.
Still sublime.
All right. Let's try something else here. Let's try quick shot. Quick shot. Let's just do a bunch of quick shots. Oh,
And we glimmered. Woohoo! Multi
Hey.
shots.
there you go.
But we definitely recommend trying out different combinations of, well, combos, so that you can glimmer new abilities. You don't have to follow what we're doing right now, so.
All I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to glimmer as much as I can.
Yeah.
Where were we?
I think
All right, so just now I learned multi-shots, which as you can see takes
Whoa.
up a lot of WP. And I only recover 2 WP per turn. So if this is one of those things that I spam, I will run out of WP at some point, right? So strategically, I'd probably not want to use this until I'm in a pinch. So for now, I'll keep using Flame Arrow.
would be good for a duel, probably. Just gotta be strategic about it.
But the problem with the duels is I can't use an ability just off the bat. I have to use the combinations of,
Right.
of abilities, and then even then, there's only a chance that I would actually trigger it. So a tip from me is that when I run, I'll be naturally running, but I have a lot more control if I actually walk. And I'm doing that by holding down the B button here.
Yay.
All right, so I found something called the Chris knife. If I go into my equipment screen, I can see, where'd it go? I can see the Chris knife down there, and I can also see that there's a little icon next to the sword there. And again, you see that it has infinite durability. So this is an example of a Quell that I can keep using. And for the purpose of this particular map, that was our objective, is to find one. And we already found one, so we can go ahead and leave. Now, I can go ahead and run, desperate escape from every enemy, like in this case. But remember, if you kept using heal, then your LP is probably low, and you might not be able to run for
Let's
a battle.
actually see the Quell in
Oh yeah,
action too.
yeah. All right, so now that we have the Chris knife equipped on one of our characters, we can go ahead and see what kind of spells that thing, what it has. So let's go ahead and get to him. It's not Cordelia.
It should be Narcissus.
Yeah, it's Narcissus. So we see that this particular one is called Comet Fall. It's very powerful, as you can see. It's 51 power, and it cost me 8 SP. So obviously another one of those things that I can't keep using. But luckily, this particular character has high SP, so you can probably use that often. You can see that was on a different class, right? So obviously Quells are very important in this.
Since Narcisse isn't going to be, I guess, our main character after this, do we get to keep the Quells after?
Yes, so long you're in that, so each story is different, and they're gonna have their own equipment, but you're gonna find later on that there is actually a way to sort of transfer equipment over, which is a new addition to this particular release, but these storage houses are only in limited places, and I believe Westia is one of them, but not right now because we're not there.
But I'd say it's worth it to go around the ruins of Han to find other items, because I'm sure you can find other Quells that aren't the Chris Knights.
Oh, well, this person is here. She's already here.
Oh, okay.
So here's the way to do it between one character to the other. But again, they're in limited places. And with that, that's the end of this particular story. And we can move on.
So now we're a little bit later in the game here, where we're a little more established. We've gone through a bunch of different stories. We are going to go into Will versus the Egg. So we're going to explain how these stories intersect between Will and Gustav. We're also going to actually go over parameter inheritance, and then we also have the Dig, Dig, Digger minigame, and try out some new fusion spells.
Yeah, so this is a very familiar town. We're going to come back here very often. But what we're going to try is we're going to go into the Dig, Dig, Digger, which, as you can see, is sort of a mini game. It's also very automatic in a sense that you find these, what are they called, diggers? You call these diggers, they're basically characters that are NPCs in the game. And you basically send them off to excavate a location for a set duration of time, and then they come back with items that they found during that time. Yeah, as you can see from this one, he's sleeping. So periodically you have to go over there and just wake them up and keep them going. And you can see the timer up on top there, and once that runs out, that's when I would get the item. So it's good to sort of check periodically, but you can also see on the top left screen there, the 3 pickaxe. The blue means that it's going, everything's fine, but then periodically you'll see a red, which signifies that somebody's slacking off. So you're gonna wanna check with them, yeah?
If you're a Western SaGa fan, I hope you're very excited for Dig Dig Digger, because you finally get to play it.
Do you want to explain what Dig Dig Digger was and why?
Yeah, so it was not included, well, it couldn't really be included in the original Western release. And so, again, if you're a Western SaGa fan, this was something that you weren't able to play in the original, and so I'm really happy to see that it's a part of this remaster so that you get the most complete version of the game ever released in the West.
And you get the cute little animations like you had the Pocket Station.
So much. They're so cute.
I mean, you also saw it at the beginning. We had the countdown going on with our little diggers. Now we're playing as Tyler.
Yeah, so now we're playing as Tyler. We didn't want to spoil the story, but story-wise, yeah, we're basically controlling a different character now. So it's part of a plan. We have to split up in order to make this plan work, and so I also wanted to now go back into this party menu where we're a little bit more advanced in terms of like what arts we have. So you can see that Tyler has a lot more than he did in the beginning there. And if I go in to see if he has a lot of tree abilities, I can equip any of these. And any of my characters can equip any of these. I still have that Chris knife, you can see. And then I have a lot of other equipment that I can equip as well. Yeah. Now, one new addition to this is the parameter inheritance, which we talked a little bit about earlier. But this basically means that I could transfer over some stats from characters from the other Gustav's side. In this case, I can see all of my selections here, and you can sort of see what kind of effects it's going to have on the right side with the plus sign up there, right? So say that I want Tyler to have more of that flame ability or flame element. I can see that by having Narcissi, I can't even say it. So you can say by Narcisse, you can see by having Narcisse that I can sort of tack on 8 more of the fire or flame.
The flame, yeah.
And you can see from here too who's assigned to each character next to their name and age.
And that's basically so like as you play through each character's stories that like you're sort of leveling up evenly in a sense.
Yeah. I'd say it's also because if you, like me, and keep using one equipment because you just like a sword, for instance, there is at some point you're going to hit a sort of a cap and a limit.
Right.
And there's some enemies, some bosses that might require a little bit more strategy, right? Where maybe attacking with arts is not enough and you need to use spells, for instance, right? So I would need to have a balance of that. So in cases like that, it would really help. Rather than going back and having to level up for a long period of time, I can just bring over those parameters.
Just go into somebody's house and scream at them, "Are you a pirate?"
I don't know, I look like a pirate though.
Yeah, seriously.
All right, so right now we're playing on Will's side. We found Tyler in the very beginning of Will's storyline here, right? And now we are finding out that this character that we're talking to in this house is actually Gustav. So like we said, the whole point of this is that their stories do intertwine, and the stories do intertwine. And in this particular case, he is actually joining our party, so we do get to fight with him. But now story-wise, I don't think Will ever actually meets Gustav.
So they intersect, but not really.
Yeah, I mean, they intersect in a sense that Gustav's storyline is really heavily based around his empire, his kingdom, right? And the wars that sort of are surrounding that. While Will's story is mostly around the discovery of the egg and sort of the anomaly around it. And they're both obviously a big part of each story, they just don't know, right? So you're supposed to unravel and you're supposed to like unlock these stories and sort of find out how it all kind of connects.
Yeah, I think the way it was described to me is that like Gustav's story is like the well-known version of this history, and then Will's story adds a layer of context that you might not know otherwise because he's not the one being captured in the history books. It would have been Gustav.
So you see now that I do have Gustav, right?
Sick outfit, dang.
I mean, he is royalty.
It's true.
So it's always good practice to go ahead and try to equip or utilize this parameter inheritance because it's basically extra parameters, right, that you can sort of gain.
Scroll all the way down, maybe.
Yeah. Here's some good sword. I know that I'm going to use a sword, but I can't use Tyler.
Here's William.
William doesn't have a lot of...
Oh, wait, no. Who had it?
It was Tyler, but I can't use him. All right, well, I'm just going to equip somebody who's going to give me a little more HP. All right. Now with parameter inheritance, it's different from the arts that you share. Like I said earlier, when you glimmer an arts, anybody can use it. Anybody can equip it, but you have to equip the right equipment in order to use that ability, or the arts, right? So it's different from parameter inheritance in that you're not really transferring over, say, what you learned. It's just stats. All right, so now that we're a lot further into the game, so we have a lot of abilities, or a lot of arts that we can use at our disposal here. So we have our fusion spells, which, as the name suggests, it is a fusion of different spells. And then we have here our weapons. In this case, Tyler is going to use his sword. Let me show you a fusion spell. Fusion spells are obviously more powerful. As you can see down in the bottom left there, the power is 75 for incineration, but it also has the chance to dispatch an enemy with a single blow. So that means that if I use it on this guy, he's going to be gone, right?
What about the all enemies?
Oh, so here's another AoE. Yeah, so we didn't have a chance to see the AoEs earlier, but some arts do have AoE abilities, like this Firestorm. As you can see down in the bottom next to the power, it says all enemies. So by clicking it, you can see that the pointer goes to all the enemies, which means it's going to attack all of them.
Her sign of soul, is that, I want to see bears.
All right.
Oh, that's almost a bear.
See, so that we didn't even see a damage on that one. He was incinerated.
Bye.
So we want to also keep in mind that fusion spells and spells in general uses SP, while arts from equipment, like regular equipment, like swords and axes, uses WP. Yeah. All right, while you do recover 25% of your HP after every battle, sometimes that's just not enough.
Yeah.
There is an item there, as you can see, down in the help menu down there, to show that you can actually restore your whole party's HP, WP, and SP. You definitely use it sparingly.
There's only one use left.
You
Yeah.
have no choice but to use it sparingly.
And so there you see everybody's sort of back up there, right? Now, I noticed that one of my characters have 2 rods equipped, which is kind of useless. So let's go ahead and put on the Chris knife, because we know that that has a really cool meteor or comet ability. All right. Oh, you see up on the top there, it says one of my characters is napping. So you can see on the top left, there's a Z in my middle of my digger icon. So if I go in there, this is the
Again?
second time this guy was sleeping. I'm gonna wake him up. Yeah. So keep an eye on that when that pops up, so that you can keep the items rolling.
They're so cute.
I love them.
I definitely like these AoE attacks because it feels more productive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of
AoEs.
multi-enemy attacks. Gets the job done, see? There you go.
Oh, that's nice. At the bottom, it shows you how to perform those attacks in duels.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
that's
prepare,
cool.
charge, slash for vertical smash.
I assumed we were just gonna
Just
guess
have
the
them.
whole-
Blindly, yeah, keep it in mind.
write them down in your notebook.
But
like
this is
these.
after. This is after you learn it, though.
Well, yeah, but still good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're surrounded.
Let's see. Crush.
King Gator, I like him.
King Gator.
I love a little whitey guy.
They got no legs.
That's peak design when there's no legs.
You're right, you're right.
Wow, Gustav's on another level. All right, let's try that. Now they're all going to the same guy. All right. So just now you saw a flashing light before my characters attacked. That was a combo. So as you saw, they both attacked at the same time. Sometimes that gets triggered. Same with glimmering. It's kind of it's pretty random. But when you have the right succession of attacks, given a certain equipment, then they trigger something called a combo, where they attack at the same time, and it does a lot more damage. So if you learn that a certain combination of attacks combo more often, it's definitely a strategy to keep that going, especially in a boss battle. So if I keep doing that, for instance, again, it's not guaranteed every time, but there is a chance, because we know that that combination would do it.
But it does have to be on the same.
Yeah, it has to be the same enemy. There he is.
Curses, matey.
All right. So here we have our boss battle of this particular scene, the Wyvern. So we got to be a little bit careful, right? So we can't just experiment too much. We're going to go ahead and use our best abilities. All right, we have another combo, which is always good time. You saw it did a lot of damage there.
Nutcracker, heaven and earth.
Yeah, so since that worked really well, I'm going to go ahead and keep that up. And I'm just going to keep an eye on my HP because I can always heal at the beginning of every battle, or every turn.
Now, it doesn't always happen.
Yeah, see, I put in the exact same commands, but it didn't trigger that particular time. Now, Incineration didn't seem to be doing much, so I'm going to go ahead and change my strategy a little bit, and I'm going to go ahead and... Ooh,
Gustav
that
is
was
great
strong.
to have in this battle. Big damage.
Yeah.
Well, as long as he's alive.
So remember, I can heal everybody at the cost of 1 LP. It won't necessarily cost me my turn, which is very helpful. I don't think that did much for Tyler either, so we'll go ahead and try something else. Let's see. I'm still hoping for that combo.
Woohoo!
All right, and that was it. A little bit further into the game, we got to see more arts. We got to see a combo. We saw the inheritance parameter, and we saw the digger mini game as well. And with that, that's the end of this particular scene. And I think this is where we'll call it.
Thank you so much for watching, everyone. So make sure to check out SaGa Frontier 2 Remastered on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Steam, Nintendo Switch, iOS, or Android, which is out right now. And don't forget to follow us on our socials and follow the SaGa Game socials for the latest. So that's at SaGa Game. And again, thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you in the next one. Bye!
Check out my banger tweets. Saga game.